Hello and welcome back to the Lovejoy Nation podcast. It is a busy time in Lovejoy land, and we are all grateful and blessed, as Dave would say.
Absolutely.
And what have you been up to since we last recorded, Dave?
Well, hello. What have I been up to? Nothing really. It's all, as we've sort of said previous, back to school, back to work after the summer. The rain's come in. The evenings are getting darker. But I am having a little midweek vacation, as you folks say. I've got one of them coming up. Out in the New Forest, so I'm looking forward to that. What else am I up to? Wow, there is something like a gig in London, but I can't remember who that is. What about yourself?
When you remember, let us know.
Oh, well, okay.
Back to the grind, back to school. That's what's mostly going on now. We have some fun things up ahead, Ren Fair and a record fair at the Brooklyn Flea Market coming up next weekend. It's about 40 different record stores are coming together and bringing their wares. Yeah, it's going to be fun. So hopefully the weather cooperates. Unlike you, we've had like no rain here. We've had a drought. It's very dry. And actually we all want the rain, which is kind of unusual, I know, but
we've pretty much had nearly a fortnight of rain on and off now. In which, to be fair, the last time we had rain was when you were in England.
So you had a dry patch too, a dry spell.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's on the show tonight?
Well, let's just first address that you only hear two voices today because Angie is tied up with being mom taxi to Pebble today.
Yes.
Couldn't make it. She couldn't join us, but she did join us for the interview that will come after we talk. So we have some Lovejoy news to talk about. Since we last spoke, there was a short, I think we both can agree that it was too short.
Yes, far too short.
Behind the scenes video that Lovejoy put out on Lovejoy, etc., their spin-off channel on YouTube for behind the scenes types of things. They did a behind the scenes for the Rob video and pay and display, a twofer, if you will, but too short. It was only 9 or so minutes, definitely under 10 minutes.
Just under 10 minutes. It was good. It's great. I like that sort of thing because I like to do stuff effectively behind the camera, behind the scenes. So that's my thing. Interesting to see the crew and the other artists and makeup and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I really do like that sort of stuff.
It's fun to see the goofy, funny things that happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
From the band, the goofiness, the silliness. But it was. It could have done with another at least 15 minutes.
I always think when they must have so much footage from these things and concerts and festivals and such that they're just saving it for something else. So we just have to be patient. We'll see more down the road, maybe.
Yeah.
Never know.
And let's hope so.
Noisiac posted, was it a story or a post where they showed how they did the elevator?
It was both, actually, yeah. How they done the elevator. I've been really enjoying Noisiac's posts.
That was neat to see. And I was thinking about it while now watching the video again, how it worked. You know, that you believe that it's a real elevator working, but in reality, it's cleverly done to look like, obviously, a real elevator. And I was curious how they did when the elevator like stops and they like sort of bounce. Do they just all let's bounce at the same time? Or?
Literally, yes. It is a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2,
That's
1,
cool.
bounce.
It's like I'm dating myself, but actually this is way older than me. The Music Man movie, when they're on the train, I've seen it on stage as well. When they're in that train scene, they're all bouncing.
Yeah.
You know, they're all just bouncing.
Yeah.
But it works.
Absolutely.
It's very effective. I love that. Yeah, so that was fun. And then
it really was fun. I know the rest of the band didn't really have, when I say much to do, obviously they had to film their footage of the music. But it was good to see them hanging out in the back and
being around for the filming in general. And I liked when Will came back over to them. They're like, "Oh, I'm in the band again," and just seeing him be silly and happy behind the scenes when these shoots, he's looking so scared or sad or upset. It was nice to see the levity when the camera wasn't on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll take as much as we can get of it.
Yeah. If I'm out and about and they're filming movies, TV programs, whatever, I really enjoy just watching the behind the scenes. It doesn't matter who's the actor is, I just really enjoy it. So yeah, that was good. Just like we said numerous times, just far too short.
Come on, Lovejoy.
Yes.
You got a whole channel there. You can do more.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not like you have anything else going on.
Yeah. And what else was released? There was something about a gig on the 24th of September.
Is that the gig you were talking about earlier that you couldn't remember?
Yeah, that's it. It's 24th of September, Islington O2, Lovejoy dropping their album show. What can I say?
For the first and only time, I believe, they're going to play the debut album in its entirety in front of an audience.
Yeah, which says to me that you're not going to get all the songs on tour.
No, guessing not. Yeah, I guess that isn't a thing. I was mistaken when I thought, like, maybe for the new album they'll do all the songs, but no, they'll do a mix of old and new.
Yeah, and I got tickets, so I'm going.
How'd you manage that, Dave? How'd you manage to get those tickets? I know they're high demand.
What can I say? Gave Ash a ring. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Obviously, we've spoken about it on previous pods, and I missed out on a pre-sale. I was out in the middle of nowhere. Signal wasn't great, and I got online about... Well, I got on at 10 o'clock, but it just wasn't happening. Then I had to drive a mile or so down the road. And about 10:05, I come back on, and they were gone. I'm not going to lie, absolutely gutted. So then, a couple of days later, I'd spoken to you guys, and you both got up early to help me out.
Sure did.
I think we all got online at 10 o'clock, 4 a.m., your time and Angie's time. I got straight in, nothing. Sold out. Refresh. Nothing. And you got tickets in the bag.
Isn't that crazy? All the way from New Jersey.
I know. All the way. This is what got me, is the fact that you managed to get them in New Jersey.
Magical place, what can I say?
Yeah, I'm 70 miles down the road, 60 miles from Brighton, and it's like, couldn't get them. But anyway, yeah, I absolutely chuffed to bits. And if I could, I would have flown across, and I'd be sat next to you now doing this, because I would have flown across and given you a big hug.
And as I said, I'd much rather be flying over there and lose my passport in the process.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, yeah.
Yeah. I'll make the trip, Dave. You don't have to come all the way here. I don't mind going there.
To the gig.
I would love to.
So it's going to be a bit of a mad dash after work to get to London, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's going to be worth it. I really do. To hear every single song from the album before it's released.
Try to absorb and memorize every minute of it, right?
Yeah, this is it. Don't know whether we're going to be allowed to film it. I really don't. I'm not expecting to.
Mm-hmm. The screaming fans. It's going to be insane.
I don't know whether there's going to be merch there. I don't know what's going to be there.
So cool. And people were confused a little bit because there are 2 rooms at the venue. There's also another gig going on the same night, same time.
Yes, and there's plenty of tickets left for them if you want to go see them.
Oh, that's funny.
Is it an Australian band or something like that? I know they're another indie band, but they've got the main stage downstairs.
That was the question. People were asking, is this the 800-person room or the 250 room?
Yeah, I believe it's the 250 room, judging by how quick those tickets went.
Yeah.
I don't know how many tickets are sold, whether it's 200 and they've got 50 guests coming. I really don't. But as far as we know, it's on the 250 room. It's going to be amazing.
And I know that you'll be having some goodies in your pocket to possibly give out to those in the
That
queue.
is correct. I will be having pocketfuls of nuggets. I'll take as many as I can because I don't think I'm going to take a bag because of the, you're not really allowed to take bags in with
Right,
you.
you don't want to hold up security and all that.
Absolutely.
You need
But
some Wilbur pants with lots of pockets.
yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to be wearing. My I call them army trousers, my
Okay.
cargo pants, with
Right.
all the pockets. I'm going to need my
Mm.
microphones.
You never know. You have to bring a microphone
Well, this
because you
is
never
it.
know.
I mean, I'm hoping to grab a chat with a few people out in the queue. So if you are about, give me a shout. That's what I look like.
Yeah, if you want to be on the podcast,
Yeah,
that would be cool.
absolutely. I'm not sure about after the gig because we might have to leg it to get a train.
I'm sure it's gonna be late.
Are we going to have a band on before? Support group? Are they just going to come in and maybe do a few songs and then, right, this is it. We're now going into the album,
Hmm.
you know?
Who knows? Yeah, maybe they're gonna do a little chit chat
Mm,
beforehand. I bet. I hope people are quiet enough in the crowd to like just so you can hear it. That's what makes me crazy sometimes when everybody's
yeah,
screaming while they're trying to talk. So,
yeah, but I'm really looking forward to it.
oh my gosh, I'd be pinching myself if I were you.
I
As I
will,
said to you, I felt like I was handing over my newborn baby for adoption when I transferred
yeah,
those tickets to you. Please
yeah.
take good care.
You really don't know how grateful I was. And after, I know I said to you, right, I got to get on because I
Mm-hmm.
was at work and I
Yeah.
stopped. But I put the phone down and that sigh of relief, the weight off the
Aww.
shoulders,
The realization, like, this is really happening.
this is really happening. And it was like, oh,
No, I was so happy for you. So can't even be mad.
no, everything I can possibly do and are allowed to do, I will send across. Pictures of merch, pictures of whatever.
And you're our eyes and ears for the pod too, so that's valuable.
Absolutely.
So it's not just us. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I shall be taking my daughter. We've got to wait for her to come home from school. And then we're
Amazing.
literally straight on a train to London. Get across London,
So cool.
grab some food from somewhere.
Yeah. It's the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Check back here on the next episode for whatever we've got. But yeah, keep an eye on Lovejoy Nation over that evening because, like I say, anything that I can get, pictures, merch
Oh
wise,
yeah, pictures.
photos, anything, I should be sending them straight across, and anything I send across should be able to go straight out.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to it. And it's what if we have 10 days away from as of today, right?
That's right.
Date of recording. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
um, all right. And then we got a surprise announcement this past Friday that I don't think anyone was expecting. Someone on Reddit was like,
Yeah,
I predict.
absolutely.
Wasn't that funny? One person
Yeah,
predicted it.
I predict we're going to get a new single tomorrow. This was on a Thursday,
Yeah.
and it was like,
Yeah, okay.
oh my word,
And it happened. Yeah, so we're
it
getting
happened.
a new single this Friday, September 19th, Come and Touch. And we heard a little snippet. I think we have 28 seconds of the song.
Sounds really good.
Yeah.
Having said that, paying display, we were all like, oh my God, wow.
Yeah.
And then it started off totally different to
Yeah.
how we were expecting.
It's true.
So the 28-second snippet, love it. Sounds really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
We've just got to wait for the rest.
Yeah, I'm curious for what little, as Angie always said, and I guess always say, crumbs. What crumbs will we get this week leading up to Friday? What fun little TikToks or videos or things.
I can't believe it's so soon. after the last one. I
Yeah.
honestly was expecting it to perhaps drop after the album,
Hmm.
uh, but I
And
guess
then we're
that's how they
guessing
want to play it.
another music video along with, presumably.
Yeah, well, didn't Noisiac say that there would be a third one? Didn't they
Give
give
me
a
a
little crumb?
trilogy.
Yeah,
Right.
trilogy.
Yeah. So do we think that it'll be another prequel to Pay and Display or post Rob?
I think it'll be post because it does come along further on the album track.
I see. That's good detective work. Yeah.
The next song after Pay and Display, I believe, is White Shark Cafe, then Common Touch. So surely it's got to be post.
Okay. That's exciting too. Not just the song, but music video to go with it.
Yeah, I
So
find it strange how we've sat here and we're like, love Rob,
yeah.
great tune. Oh my God, Pay and Display, love it.
Yeah.
And is this one going to be the same?
And then like how many do we not know a thing about yet? Because we know foxholes.
Well, yes, yeah, we do know Foxholes, don't we? So we got what, 7? What's it,
I
11
have
on the album?
I've avoided hearing Perfect Blue, so I don't know anything about it.
Oh yeah, so 6. I watched Angie's footage once for Perfect Blue, maybe twice. It's really hard at times to get that feeling
Right.
from
A cell phone video from
exactly.
yeah.
But yeah, so I guess we've sort of heard half the album. We got half the
Isn't
album
that
as a
crazy too?
surprise.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. We have 6 songs at least, right? Or that we think we haven't heard at all. And foxholes might change. Things might change from studio version to what was we heard at the concert, but for the most
Well,
part,
apparently Foxholes did
a little
change on
bit.
the last concert.
Yeah.
So, and this is why they've taken off Wasted Summer,
Mm-hmm.
because they want to clearly do it better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when you ask that question, we've heard 6 songs. Is it 6? So we've got Rob, Pay and
Yeah.
Display, Foxholes, Common Touch,
Perfect Blue.
Perfect Blue. So we've heard 5,
And there's 12 or
11.
11.
Yeah, so we've heard just under half the album.
That's amazing. Like I can't. It's like so exciting. It's so exciting for them, and you could tell they love these songs. I was afraid at first that they'd be nervous about presenting these things because there's so much weight behind them. But it's clear that they're so confident and proud and happy about them that that kind of floats away. And the
Yeah,
response has been so amazing. So,
absolutely. Yes. But just blown me away how many we've actually heard now.
and
Yeah.
how many are still left? I think that's the most exciting part. Well, then, let's get on with the show. Angie and I recorded an interview with a really amazing, brilliant man named Vinny Ribus the other night, and I hope you enjoy listening as much as we enjoyed recording it. He's a music industry professional. We grilled him with all kinds of questions regarding the music industry and ways that fans can help support an indie artist that's sort of on their way up and producing new music and releasing songs, and how we can really do the most we can for them other than just streaming. So take a listen to that. Let us know what you think. And also check out his website, Cartney, CARTNE.com. It's a really robust website of online music industry lessons from, I think it said 100 professionals, and really fascinating. Even if you're not in the industry, you'll find it very interesting if you have an interest in music and supporting bands that you love. And definitely it's worth checking out. So we'll put the link in the description. Today we're joined by Vinny Ribus, an artist manager, artist consultant, music industry consultant, founder and CEO of Indie Connect, and a plethora of other things. Is there anything you'd like to add or tell us about yourself?
Basically, I also own Cartney.com, which is a e-learning platform for the music industry. And I've just gotten into documentary filming.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
That's like my favorite genre of things to watch when I'm home with free time. Excellent.
Very cool.
Thank you for joining us. I found you on LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
I found you with your article because I run a fan account. I'm always looking for ways to encourage fans to support Lovejoy and do everything we can for them. That they've had EPs and singles, but they've not had a debut full-length album, but they have one coming out October 3rd. And so there's so much writing on this, as you well know. And so I found your article, 30 Ways to Help Support Your Favorite Indie Artists. And I was like, oh my God, Angie, you got to see this. Dave.
What a gold mine. Oh my goodness. I was so excited.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's interesting how much fans don't actually realize what artists have to go through. And so they don't really know how to support them.
That's so true, because I often see, we're pushing like, let's get it to 1 million streams, and they're like, I just want to listen how I want to listen. It's not our job to worry about that. It's like, it's not your job, but do you love this band? Do you want them to be able to stick around and tour and be here for a long term?
It benefits the band and it benefits us. If you want the band to stick around, you've got to help them out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it doesn't take much, especially when you have that many fans. But it does take a little bit of effort, a little bit of conscious effort.
Yeah, and I think just to raise the awareness, especially the audience is on the younger side, most of which probably under 18 even.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we all grew up with CDs and tapes and radio being the big things, but now it's a different world. And I was actually interested on your take, since I saw that you were on the other side of the curtain at one point, being a full-time entertainer and then booking agent. So you've been on, the whole spectrum.
I'm old. I mean, when you're old, you get to do a lot of stuff.
We're glad you're here to help us with that plethora of knowledge you have. So yeah, how is it different, and is it harder now because there's not so much physical media that people are purchasing?
There are a lot of things that are different, and a lot of things that are harder, and a lot of things that are easier. So, definitely the physical media is a major challenge, because that was the major revenue stream for record labels, especially, and for artists. And so, when artists don't have that, and it becomes really hard for them to tour because everything is so expensive, whether it's gas and the bus and hotel rooms and eating out and everything. I mean, it just gets crazy. And so artists really struggle. Even the biggest artists are downsizing a lot of the size of their concerts, because they're just not drawing, and it's just too expensive, especially when you have, those huge buses and trucks and stuff like that. But any independent artist, they're really struggling unless they draw a lot, and mainly if they, to make it as a touring artist, it's going to be on merch.
I see.
It's always going to be on merch.
And do the bands pay a fee to the venues that host them? How does that work? Just for those that don't know, like, how does that work when you sign up to play at Webster Hall in New York City? Do you have to a portion of the sale?
Yeah, some venues will do that. I always try to avoid that if possible. It's not rocket science to figure out that every little bit of that margin that you give away to somebody else chips away at what you have to be able to survive on. And so, I don't like it when the record labels take a piece of the action of the merch. I don't like it when the clubs take a piece of the merch. I just don't think it's fair to anybody. And so I always avoid that.
Right. And then that's when, t-shirts are now $50 instead of 25 like they used to be.
Exactly.
If we're talking about the price of a ticket and who gets what cut of that, let's say a ticket to see a band costs $50. What percentage of that would you think, give or take, would that band actually put in their pocket once you figure all the expenses?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, a lot of that depends on what the agreement is with the venue, because the venues usually take a portion of the ticket sales, unless the artist is what they call four-walling it. So they're renting the room, and they're going to sell tickets, and then they're going to pay for the rent out of the ticket sales. So it's really hard to say what percentage that would be. But after all of the expenses and everything, if an artist, and it depends also on how much the ticket sale how much the tickets are and how many tickets they're selling. So, you know, you can have a venue that seats 500, and if they can sell that 500 seats for $50, they're bringing in pretty good money. But if it's a venue that seats 25 or 50 or 100, you're not bringing in as much money. So the percentage is going to be different. But overall, if you put a tour together, it's probably going to be 5 to 10% that is actually profit, if that.
Wow.
That's not very much, is it?
No.
And we were talking, I had brought up streaming versus the physical. Oftentimes with streaming, you hear they make a fraction of a penny per stream. So is streaming more about just getting the songs out there than money made from the streams?
Streaming is pure marketing. It's pure marketing. And nowadays, the push is to get away from that. And if you've got a fan base, you only release your music to your fans, or at least maybe for the first 2 weeks or a month, you go to the fans first and let them consume it. And especially if you have a fan club, this is the way that most artists now are trying to generate a lot of money, because you figure if you've got 1,000 fans that are paying you $10 a month, then you've got $10,000 a month coming in, mailbox money, and you do special things for them, and that makes it really easy then to tour or to record or do whatever you want. You've got all of this money that is unencumbered. Yeah, it doesn't really cost you much, maybe to go into the studio and record a single or something, but you can build a loyal following. And I know artists that have 5,000 people paying them between $5 and $20 a month, and these are independent artists. So it's the way to go. If you've got a following, even if you don't have a following, start building up. You got to work your fans through a process. So you're going to get fans that just discover you. They're going to check you out a little bit. Then they're going to test you out. They're going to go see your website, or they're going to check out your other social media. And your goal is to move them up the ladder to the point where they're no longer just intrigued, they're actually engaged with you. So you get them to sign up for your mailing list. And then you can start, when somebody signs up for your mailing list, which is the piece that most artists miss completely. When somebody signs up for your mailing list, they're basically saying, I give you permission to market to me. Yes. I want to know when you have gigs. I want to know when you have new merch. I want to know when you have new music coming out. And that makes a world of difference when you can capture people that way, because it's 5 to 7 times easier to sell to an existing customer than to find a new customer. That's just, simple sales math. So if you've got them on your mailing list, that's a huge part. That's a commitment on their part. Now you can move them into the fan base, into your fan club. And it's not a huge leap if they like what you're giving them as an email subscriber. And once you can do that, and you can even do the fan club at $2 a month, and then have other tiers that move up. But your goal is to control everything. You want to control the music. You don't want anyone else controlling that. Your goal is to control obviously the copyrights of the songs. Your goal is to control the data. The biggest challenge with all of the social networks, with Spotify, with anybody, is it doesn't matter if you have 5 million fans on there, 100 million fans on there. You haven't got a clue who one of them is. You can't email one of them because they own the data. And yeah, so if they own the data, then you're just borrowing that list. When TikTok was going away, so many people were so scared because that was their entire living. If they had all that data, they had everybody on a mailing list, wouldn't have made a difference. Hey guys, we're going to go switch over to here.
So switching from streaming to radio, is radio still relevant in today's world for independent artists?
It's relevant, but it's very expensive. It's very expensive to get a radio promoter. Now, somebody like Lovejoy, they've got a big following. They've got a lot of people following them on Spotify, so they would have an attraction to radio. But the hardest thing for an artist is to reach all of those radio stations. You can pay for services. There are services like Play MPE and AirPlay Direct that'll reach out to these different radio stations for you. Radio, unless you have a radio promoter and you're paying them big money, and the reason they're big money is because every one of them has their own target area that they work with. So you'll have your New York guy who works the main stations there, and then you'll have the guy that works Northern New York or something.
Okay.
And so you're paying a whole lot of people, and to infiltrate, a radio station that's owned or is basically, pretty much owned, whether it's physically or just bought by the major labels, you're not going to have a good shot at getting at the major stations.
What
So you're
about
going to be on. I mean, I think I know where you're going. College stations are a great avenue to go. Unfortunately, again, the challenge with college stations is that the students are usually the ones that do the programming, and they change every year. So every year you're starting from scratch, or every 2 years, to build relationships. Everything in this field is relationships.
Mhm.
It's relationships with the radio stations, the programmers, it's relationships with the venues, it's relationship with booking agents, it's relationships that your manager has. It's all relationships, because there are so many people flooding the market every single day with content, and a lot of it good, not a huge percentage, but a lot of it is good, that you have to do something that makes you stand out from everybody else.
what about fans? The good old, calling into the radio station or emailing them or
Absolutely.
texting them. Is that still effective?
That's very effective. I mean, they want to please their audiences, and if it's an appropriate radio station, yes, fans can definitely help in that kind of a campaign, and they can help by finding out who's the programmer at their local college and pass that information on. So basically, I mean, it used to be a street team. Artists would put a street team together, and they would put out posters and stuff like that, and sometimes that still works, but most people are sticking with digital right now. But yes, mobilizing your fans to help you out in all these different areas, to tell you about a venue that you should be playing, to introduce you to a venue owner, or to introduce you to somebody they know that works at a radio station, or somebody that works at the local festival or fair or something like that. All those kind of things make a world of difference because right now, unless you have a record label and you're paying a marketing company and you're paying a publicist and everything, you don't have the money to reach everybody. So you're doing it on your own. It's coming out of your time, it's coming out of your pocket and everything. And that makes it very difficult. So if you've got the fans on your side and they're helping you to get the contacts and the resources and create the demand for you, it's the same thing with, having enough fans calling a festival and saying that we want these guys to play.
Yep, Lovejoy has
Or a
said
venue.
we'll play where the listeners are. So they just need to know and see where the listeners are. But they are just recently signed with Warner Record. Because they're with Warner Record, does that, I'd imagine, help with airplay? I had heard something about an ad. Tomorrow's supposed to be the ad date for radio stations. It's a new term I've just learned for their newest song, Pay and Display. So how does that work? Ad dates and new song.
That's the official day. They can tell the radio stations this song will be available on this day. Do not play it before this day. So that's your ad date. That's the date that they add it to their playlists. Now, a lot of songs take a long time. They take creating demand and everything for them to work their way up in the radio station's playlist. I mean, there's songs that take months to work their way up. So it's not like it happens today and it gets on every radio station. The difference is that when you're signed with somebody like Warner, they have the relationships with the radio stations. So they can say, they have leverage. They can say, we're not going to let you play this artist unless you play our new artist. We're not going to let you have,
Fascinating.
we're not going to let you have this artist play your concert, your local concert, unless you have this artist open for them.
So there's a little politics going on there.
It's all politics.
Well, they've already been playing the song on a lot of stations. I've been tracking it on sound charts. So that's exciting that even before that date, it's already been playing, I think, over 100 since August 22nd when it was released. So, and Alt Nation, do you have an opinion on Alt Nation or Sirius XM and their value? Because they had put them on their advanced placement list, but then they haven't played the song yet. Maybe they won't till tomorrow. I don't know.
Probably not until tomorrow. But yeah, I mean, you want to be on, especially on Sirius FM. You absolutely want to be on there. XM, sorry. if you can get on there, because there are ways to do that, and a lot of it's relationships, working with somebody who has a relationship. The bottom line, everything is working with somebody who has a relationship. You want to get in magazines, you want to get something written out with you. You want a publicist who has relationships. You want to get on radio, Sirius XM, any of those, you need people who have
Interviews,
relationships.
I would imagine, would be valuable if they could do a little short interviews, like a press junket.
Sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that, a lot of that the band can do. If the band is willing to do an interview, or if they're going to be coming to town, they should go into the studio, offer to do an in-house interview. That makes a world of difference, because you're building relationships. This industry is not about how many people you know. It's about who trusts you.
That's really
It's
interesting.
about who trusts you enough to open the door for you. So you can have the whole world can know about you, but you may not get that one gig because nobody actually trusted you enough to give you that call. And it's the same thing even on a smaller scale, or much smaller scale, where you're trying to do something and there's opportunities and you're a good fit, but you can't get your foot in the door. You don't have the clout. But if somebody trusts you enough to say, oh, you need to call this band, and they open the door for you, then you're going to get in, because it's all relationships. So either you have the relationship, your team has the relationship, or your fans have the relationship.
What's good about Lovejoy, they were sort of like a quiet time, a dry spell, so to speak, where they lost some momentum, but they have awesome things under their belt. Like they received the MTV UK Push Award at the beginning of 2024, and they played Reading, Leeds, Lollapalooza. They headlined Summerfest this year, their stage at Summerfest. So I guess I would imagine those things, their resume that they've built up, also help.
Yeah, they're reaching more people. They've got much better content to put online when you can show something from Lollapalooza and stuff like that. I was looking at some of their videos and stuff, and it gives you credibility. It gives you huge credibility. But there's one thing I want to mention that is important for the band to know. Well, actually, it was actually in one of your questions. What kind of music do the fans want? Things have changed drastically with social media being the main way that people discover music. And they don't discover the music first. They will hear the music first. Then they want to know more about the artist. They want to know if they have something in common with them. Because the fans are getting bombarded, just like Spotify's getting bombarded, and the fans are getting bombarded with all kinds of content. So that's why the algorithms try to pinpoint somebody that you're going to have something in common with, that somebody, you like this artist, and so you'll like this artist. But they want to know that they have something in common with you. And then they will listen deeper. Okay. So what artists need to do is they need to know their fans well enough to know what to write about, what to say in an interview, all of the things, all of the touch points. You're building a brand, and I look at all of the different touch points. Every time that the name or the image or the music intersects with a fan, what does that look like? And how is the fan going to react to that? And so as long as you're consistent with that, and you're doing it long enough, and you're reaching people, you will weed out the ones that don't like you. And there's nothing wrong with that, because you don't want them necessarily anyway. You will build up that fan base that is very, very, loyal to you. Yeah, I was going to say rabid fans, but it didn't sound.
Oh yeah, they have that too.
That's a good way to describe it.
They were rabid. That just didn't work. No, I mean it's really important for the artists to understand that is the way that fans connect with you, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for an emotional connection. I mean, Ed Sheeran, somebody did a cover of one of his songs. I forget which one it was, and she did such a great job on it that he actually invited her to come to meet him, and they sat in the living room and just sang songs together.
That's cute.
That's what you're looking for, that kind of relationship. And every fan was envious of it, but every fan watched it every single time. Every one of those videos went viral.
Oh, you know what? For the first time ever, they're offering on this tour VIP packages, which is like humongous.
Yes, they are.
That's a big deal. I'm sure the label has a lot to do with that, because the label likes that. And what the label is doing is bringing in those relationships that the artists need. They're
They
bringing in
sorely need it.
publicists and booking agents, and they're bringing in all the relationships to meet the band.
The meet and greet is the biggest draw of the package, and another way to bring in some extra money. It's not, the extras they're throwing in aren't pricey,
Right.
but they're exciting and everybody wants them.
That's it. You got to give the fans what they want.
Yeah, and it's
If you-
interesting. I've been tracking their ticket sales, not by numbers, but just what I can see. Like, can I still get a ticket? And I would say 2/3 of their VIP tickets for their tour are sold out. So there was clearly a big demand for that, which is nice to see. But we were talking about fans a little earlier and how fans can help the band by making requests on radio. With a band the size of Lovejoy, who isn't, tiny, they're obviously bigger now, but they're not huge either. And they're really just now trying for their big break with their first debut album. Are there any other ways of supporting a band of this size that you would suggest versus somebody who is really just starting out from the ground up?
Well, given the age group that they have, I would say one of the biggest things they can do is to use their music online, use their music in their videos. So create a video with Lovejoy's music in it, because that triggers the algorithm that makes them move up the ladder in preference and more For You pages and stuff like that. So that's a real big part of it. If there are any podcasts that they should be guests on, if the fans know of that, no matter how big or how small it is, that's a great way to help the band, because again, it's reaching listeners that they might not normally that might not normally hear them. I mean, I'm 70 years old. I like their music. So it's not just appealing to 13-year-olds or 15-year-olds. I mean,
We're a little bit older
so they've
than
got to
50.
reach everybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's not just teenagers, as Lesley and I can attest to.
We can thank our
Yeah,
teenagers
and
for
it's-
introducing them to us.
I know Lesley will agree with me, is her and I and some other people in the fan base might be really pumped up. We're like, okay, let's do this. Let's support them. Let's get out there and do all the things. Let's, make a bunch of TikToks and let's call these radio stations. Sometimes it's hard to get people motivated.
Take it for granted that it's always just going to be there, but we know how crucial this time is for the band. So we just want, the easier it is and the more fun it is, and I guess easy is the big key.
Easy.
And to express how valuable it is, so they feel like they're really doing something, I think.
It's important to realize the difference between radio and social media. With radio, the songs are repeated over and over and over again until you have no choice but to get them into your brain. They just weave their way into the fabric of your brain, and next thing you know, you like them. But with social media, people hear 3 seconds of a song and they scroll. 3 seconds, they watch 3 seconds of a video and they scroll. So it takes a lot of impressions. Somebody has to hear that song a lot of times before it actually triggers. So they usually say that in sales or in marketing, it takes 7 to 20 impressions. So to see a commercial on TV, 7 to 20 times before the audience actually, it makes an imprint in their brain and they actually know what they're talking about. And so you don't have that opportunity on TikTok unless you're creating a whole bunch of content. If you're not the one creating that much content, the fans have to make that up. The fans can do that. They can keep you on people's For You pages and get that song heard over and over and over again because it's played in all these different videos.
And we've tried to, Angie's had a good idea of pushing, it doesn't have to be that clever or creative. And if you don't want to show your face, it could be your dog running around, because funny animal pet videos are popular, that kind of thing.
Something totally unrelated.
Yeah, pick something out of the lyric that you can depict. It doesn't matter. But the audience, the viewers have to hear it over and over and over again for it to stick, for them to even stop and say, oh, who is that?
We feel this weight of the pressure of this album, obviously not as much as they do, but we really do take it upon ourselves, because we have a captive audience, and yeah, we want to utilize them. And I like you were mentioning there used to be street teams to hang flyers and things. We've sort of Angie's done that for sure, and we've had other fans do that where they'd hang flyers with a QR code or the Spotify link, make stickers and stick them around in cities.
Yep. Yeah, every little bit helps because it's those touch points. Every one of those is a touch point, and you need enough touch points for somebody to say, "Oh, what's that song?" or "Who's this Lovejoy that I see everywhere? I haven't heard any of their music, but I see their name everywhere. I see their poster. Why are so many people lined up in front of the club? Why are I mean all of these different things, every one of them, why are they getting all this press? Why did they just get a bump in their Spotify? Everything, all those touch points register in somebody's mind that this is somebody I need to pay more attention to.
So street teams still have a place.
They still have a value.
They have a huge value. Without them, who's gonna, there's nothing. There's nothing there. And the hard part is keeping them. If you're not in front of them all the time, they're gonna go find somebody who is, because that's what they crave.
And when
They're
you
gonna find another artist who's in front of them, another artist who will get on Zoom once a month for you to pay $5 a month, but somebody who will get on Zoom and they can actually meet you, e-meet you. That's because that's what they crave.
when you were talking about fan clubs run by the bands themselves, I've seen a ton, obviously, because that's all I search up all the time, or all these anything fans, fan clubs, fan everything. There's tons of apps now coming out. Is there anything you've seen that you like what they're doing, or you think the old school like emails and that sort of content, or do you see things going like that actually working? And do bands need their own app that's like the Lovejoy fan app, or is it these third-party ones? Is that, I don't know if you have any opinion on that or if you have experience with any of that.
It depends on how dedicated your fans are. I mean, yeah, you're right. There's a whole bunch of apps out there. It all started, with Patreon being the biggest one. Well, it started way back, like Pledge Music was one that was, 15, 20 years ago. That was the first real artist fan club site. So then, Patreon, has taken over for a lot of that. But Patreon is very limited as to what it does. It works, and a lot of people do well on that. A lot of people just make, an extra $300-400 a month on there. But all they're, doing is posting a little bit of extra content, and they're getting paid for it. So it's buying their guitar strings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can look at it from a lot of different perspectives, but it could be your main income that allows you to go and play a gig that you want to play, but they don't have the money to pay you. You can go do a festival or something like that instead of having to go over here where you're going to make $2,500 tonight. You can go do a festival for free because you know you're going to be in front of a bigger audience and you've got money coming in, mailbox money. As far as what works, I would look at the artists that are most successful at that. Taylor Swift being, the ultimate in building the Swifties, and how she relates, how everything that she does relates directly to her fans, is done for her fans, and she serves them in ways that no other artist has, and therefore that she's got the most loyal fan base. And it's not done necessarily with an app.
I feel like the label, I think we're already seeing the positive effects of it. For example, sometimes Lesley and I will just Google, just Lovejoy or the name of their new song, Pay and Display. And we'll see all these little random articles, but you can tell that they were all taken from what appears to be a press release.
Yeah.
So, and that's something that we've never seen before. So I really think that Warner is,
we're starting to see
it's starting to see the, yes,
the fruits of the labor. Yeah.
Yes. I think, I think that they're going to invest a little bit. Yeah. Which is nice to see. And I mean,
nice. They're just well deserved.
Yeah. I mean, these guys might have, almost 1 million listeners on Spotify, but they're still relatively small, having played all these large festivals and whatnot, but
still the early stages of their career.
Yeah. They're really just starting to break through here. So it's nice to see those things happening.
Yeah. I mean, 1 million listeners is cool. But like I had one artist that I was managing, and we did a 4-month PR campaign for an EP that he was coming out. So every 2 weeks he was putting out a new single, and then we released the EP. And we got him from 3,000 monthly listeners to 150,000 monthly listeners in that 4 months.
Wow.
And then the campaign ended and he didn't have anything new to release. And literally within 2 months, he was down to about 10,000.
Sad.
And it's dwindled from there. So, the monthly
Momentum.
listeners is great. It means that you're going to make some income.
Mhm.
They're going to make maybe $3,000 off of 1 million streams.
Sure.
I mean, it's not a ton. And it's got to be kept up. People have to want to keep listening. Well, if it's good stuff, I mean, I'm working this documentary with a lot of classic country artists from the 60s, 70s, and 80s who have 1 million listeners.
Okay.
It's amazing because they're not their music was that popular.
That's great.
Wow.
Speaking of the older times, or even for me and Angie, music videos, it makes me crazy because Lovejoy's clearly spent a lot of time and money and effort on their music videos for this album. And they're like mini movies, and actually they're all going to connect into a trilogy. It's really neat. But it's so disappointing that MTV, I feel like I'm a curmudgeon here, but it's so disappointing MTV doesn't show music videos anymore. And I know that maybe it's because consumers consume on YouTube now more, but do you think that it would be of like a huge value to artists if there were a channel again that just played where you could just keep your TV on and have music videos playing all day, and then you'd sort of like by osmosis and repetition observe new artists in that way?
Yeah, a lot of the networks have that. I mean, on my Roku, I've got probably 30 different channels that I can just watch videos from different genres. So they definitely have them.
Okay. I didn't know that. I just thought MTV, everybody always says what happened. It used to be music television. Now it's silly shows. And they had the VMAs, but they don't show videos. It's just so strange.
Yeah. No, yep. I didn't know that either.
We have to promote that and publicize that, and
no kidding. As far as fan-driven promotion that fans put together themselves without any outside help from the band, are there any big no-nos when it comes to putting something like that together? Is there anything we should not be doing?
Well, obviously the biggest thing is infringing on their copyrights.
Oh, yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
That, and then saying anything that puts them down or puts them in a bad light, even if you don't mean to do it, anything like that would be a challenge. Most of what you're going to see, if you repost stuff that's online, then it's already online and you won't have a problem with that. Most of the stuff you won't have a problem with. What you cannot do, some of the things you can't do is like use their image to market something else, like to market your services. Might be you'd have to get permission from them to do that. But it's pretty much staying away from the copyright infringement, things that they don't want out there, things that a photographer took and you don't have permission to post it. And trust me, they will come after you.
It's interesting that you talk about posting things that might put them in a disparaging light, because I think sometimes there's a lot of fans that post things and maybe they're trying to be funny, but they don't think about what they're posting and the way that it could be interpreted.
There is. I mean, it's the same thing with all the comments that you get and everything. Those negative comments make a difference. They make a difference in the algorithms. They make a difference in just the whole demeanor, the whole band's, the way they feel about themselves.
That's a good question, actually. With regard to negative comments, do you feel it's best to ignore, respond, delete, block? Like, how's the best way to handle that?
Ignore or delete. Do not respond. You don't want to give them the attention. That's all they're looking for. They want to get somebody riled.
Yeah.
So don't take the bait. Okay.
Yep. Don't take the bait.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah, they'll move on to somebody else.
We try to keep our advice fan focused, but sometimes it's like you want to grab them, do VIP packages. Oh, good, you did it. So,
but if the fans can ask for the stuff that they want, you give them a way to ask for it. So you do a survey and then you pass that on to the band. then maybe the band will get the idea.
Mm.
But the label will
Yeah.
also help them guide them on what the best practices are.
Man, I never thought about that. Lesley, I bet there has to be somebody from the label that's on the Reddit keeping an eye on
And sneaky.
what
Yeah.
people are saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
for sure.
They're tracking the social media. They're tracking
Mhm.
everything. They're tracking every time you use one of the hashtag Lovejoy or hashtag one of the band members. Every time, you know, they're using services like Social Blade and stuff that, you know, will track everything and the engagement by the hour, whether it goes up and goes down. You know, we made this announcement. He was on this TV show. Did it bump, you know, give us a spike in the social media?
Okay.
I mean, they manage all of that. And so, yeah, anything that you can do to get the attention of somebody on the team makes a world of difference. And instead
Easier
of
said than done.
talking directly to the band, you might be talking directly to the manager who's telling the
Yeah.
band what to do.
Lesley, you have a question on here that I think is really great. What are some common misconceptions about how artists earn a living or define their success? There's a lot of people that think if you're able to go overseas and do a tour or quote unquote a world tour, that you're rich and you've got all this money to throw around. And we know that's not necessarily the case. What are some common misconceptions about how artists actually make their bread and butter?
Well, you're pretty much hitting on it. You know, touring is a very, very expensive endeavor. And a lot of times it takes like a label to give you an advance to, you know, tour support to be able to do that. Sponsors, they have to go and get sponsors to be able to afford to tour because you can't do it on your own. You just can't pay those kind of bills and makes enough money at the venues, especially if you're not always the headliner and, you know, you're doing a lot of opening acts and everything. You're making very little money. You're making money off of your merch. That's basically the big thing that you're doing. Just because they have 1 million followers on Spotify, that is not paying a whole lot of bills. It's definitely not paying. It's not going to pay for enough for them to record another album. It's frustrating, but it's the truth. Artists make their money off of merch. And especially if they control the merch. So depending on the record label deal, they may have to pay a percentage of the merch to the record label if they're part of a 360 deal. But, you know, if the artist can control the merch and the artist can control the fan club so that they're the ones that are collecting the email addresses and they are the ones that are servicing the fans, then their income is solid. But outside of that, everything else is vulnerable.
And what about,
you know,
buying music? I know when a single comes out or a single is about to come out, this is something I just thought of that's like every time they announce a single is going to come out this day or an album's coming out this day, we say pre-save. That means a lot to the people in the industry to see pre-saves or pre-orders. And then we encourage them to buy the songs and download the songs. I would imagine that's valuable. And I know we just found a resource, you probably are familiar already, Station Head, a place where you can have listening parties, and it's connected to your Spotify, so there's no copyright issues, and the participants can actually buy and download the songs while they're in the stream and
Right.
communicating with you. So
everything is engagement. Engage with your fans. And on the fan side, engage with the band, because every time there's an engagement, it's tracked. So if you pre-save a song, then that tells Spotify when this song comes out, when it's the official release date, or the ad date, we need to add that to this playlist and this playlist and this playlist because it's already this popular. So their algorithms are looking at that. If there's nobody pre-saving it, they're saying, well, you know, we'll see what happens, see if it goes viral somehow. But they're not proactive in doing that. And Spotify will get on your side. They want you to sell more. They make more money. They want people.
when bands have a deal with Spotify, where I had this with Ed Sheeran, I had it with Green Day, and I think other little bands, where I'll get an email from Spotify saying, because you're a fan of Green Day, you can get this limited edition T-shirt only through, this link. Thank you for your support. Thank you from Green Day, or whatever it is. I would love to see them do something like that.
That's where the relationship from the label comes in.
And the download, and like I remember Angie, you saying, not just buying the song but downloading it. Does that make a difference if someone buys a song and then forgets to download it because they usually stream it, or is there more value in playing the bought song? Like, how does that?
That's a good question. I don't really know. I mean, not that many people are buying the song anymore, unfortunately. So
Hmm.
that's not a huge income for the artist, but they are definitely obviously buying vinyl. What's interesting is that I don't know what the number is. It's something like 85% of the vinyl that's bought is never played. It's just kept as a collector's item.
Fine, Angie.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And so, it's you need to do everything as a fan. You need to do everything you can to trigger those algorithms, and that means watching YouTube videos. It means using their song in your video. It means sharing and reposting, sharing and reposting everything. All of those things trigger Spotify or TikTok or Instagram to say, "Oh, we need to push this more because it's popular."
You've given us like a wealth of information. I can't wait to watch this back and take
I know.
notes.
This is amazing. I feel like I could talk to you forever. You're so knowledgeable. And I have to say, I was looking at your website the other night, briefly looking through the online program. And obviously, I have nothing to do with the music industry, but it all looked so fascinating that I wanted to like go through it myself just to learn about everything.
You
Great.
should. You can get a 2 month, 2 week, free trial.
Cool.
Oh, it's
There's a
gotta
lot
be.
of good information from people on there who talk about their fan clubs and talk about, and talk about, switching gears and how they had to try to move their fans from loving them for this to loving them for that. I manage an artist with 25,000 followers. Most of it she built because she's known for her comedy skits, but
Hmm.
she is a singer, a great singer and a great songwriter and an actress. And so we're working really hard to get everybody to know about that too.
Okay.
And not everybody's going to love her music. So we're going to lose some people because it's not all comedy. She's still doing the comedy, but it's a balancing act and everything. So if an artist wants to change a little bit of direction, change a band member, it doesn't matter, add a band member. Everything is going to affect how people perceive it. Is it still the same as it was?
Well, I thank you. I thank you for your time and
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
You bet.
all right.
Absolutely. Take
Take care.
Thanks so much.
Thank you all for listening today. I hope you enjoyed this interview. Please leave us some words in the comments, send us an email, go to our website, lvjynation.com, anytime. And we'd love to hear your thoughts and if you have ideas for other interviews, other guests we could have on the show. Until next time, until we
us a
hear
line.
from next time when we hear from Dave about the gig, take care and keep streaming.
See you later.
Bye bye.